Well, thank you to the Vasundhara family. And I think we are so privileged as a civilization, as a culture, to have actually seen a way to make peace with the earth by realizing that we are all part of the earth family, the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And I think there is no other anchor and guide better than that recognition that we are one family, beginning with the amazing audiovisual that was shown. And when the trees were being chopped, I was remembering my early days of training as an ecological activist with the Chipko movement. I was very blessed that on 9th of this month, I was able to go and greet Sundarlal Bahuguna for his 89th birthday, his 90th anniversary starting now. So a whole century of service to the earth. And it was that movement that stopped logging in the high mountains. It took 10 years, but eventually the government had to wake up to recognize that the forests were not timber mines. They were the source of water, the source of soil stability, the source of oxygen, and now that's recognized in the climate discussions in terms of the ecological functions and services of forests. They were the source of water for the women, the fodder, the fuel, which is why the women led the Chipko movement. And I think the first step of making peace with the earth is to realize something very basic, that we are not separate from her. Because we've been groomed with 200 years of what I call a fossilized paradigm. The fossil fuel paradigm that made us pretend that we could beat every law of nature. We could mine for fossil fuels and burn them up at any speed. That we could define the earth as dead. I trained as a physicist, but it's only later when I started to write about ecology, I went back to the history of the early physicists and the early natural philosophers, as they were called, the Boyles and the Bacons and the Newtons, and how carefully 200 years ago, 250 years ago, a very false idea was constructed that we are separate from nature, we are the masters and owners. Bacon even went to the extent to say we can't know nature unless we rape her. And Boyle said the idea that we must hold the earth sacred is an interference in man's empire over the earth. Those were the days where America was being colonized, and therefore every hurdle had to be removed for that colonization of the earth. And then it went on to say nature's dead, because if you treat her as alive, then you'll hesitate, you will seek permission, you will put limits on your action. And no myth is bigger than the idea that nature is dead. She's Gaia, she's Vasundhara, she's Bhumi. She's so active that if only we stopped to watch, we would realize how puny we are in her magnificence and her creativity and her activity. So the death of nature in the mind, because if nature's dead, we are dead. If nature's dead, we don't have oxygen to breathe. If nature's dead and our rivers are polluted, we have no water to drink. If nature's dead and the soils are dead, as the ancient Veda said, in this handful of soil lies your future. If you take care of it, it will give you everything. Your food, your fiber, beauty. If you destroy it, it will destroy you. And that is the fringe on which we are sitting. We're having defined soil as an empty container to put nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium. We are actually killing our soil. When you've lived as long as I have, the landscape of this country is dramatically changing. And we are moving very fast towards desertification. And the water crisis is one aspect of that desertification. But the fact that climate change is going to aggravate droughts is going to make it even worse. Therefore, we have to build climate resilience today from the soil. 50% of the greenhouse gases are coming from industrial agriculture. And the earth is saying, make peace with me, I will take care of you. I will protect you. The idea of the separation from nature also creates a separation of economics from ecology. Both come from the same root, oikos, our home. And somewhere along the way, we've constructed economic paradigms that have nothing to do with our home anymore. First, we created privatization of the commons. That's how the entire enclosures movement started. During the wars and during the Great Depression, a magical figure was constructed called the GDP, the gross domestic product. And I have to say, it is very gross. It's gross because all it measures is the commodification and commercialization of activity. You cut a forest, you have GDP growth. You protect the forest grows, your life grows, the oxygen grows, the Earth's capacity to absorb the carbon dioxide grows, but your GDP doesn't grow. Which is why there's so much effort to go beyond GDP. I work with the government of Bhutan, and we are helping Bhutan go 100% organic. They're 70% organic anyway. We're working with 5 states of India that are moving towards declaring organic. And I hope Maharashtra, with all the influence you all have, will move because you have the largest number of farmer suicides. And the same land use that contributes to climate change, that contributes to water scarcity, that contributes to debt of farmers is driving the suicides. When we have available to us an ecological agriculture, organic farming, that could get farmers out of the debt trap tomorrow. We do that work in Vidarbha. The farmers having their own seed, doing organic farming, are earning 10 times more. They have no debt. Not a single organic farmer is an indebted farmer because they're not borrowing for seed and chemicals. And the chemicals they borrow for and get into debt and end their lives are the chemicals that give you cancer, that give you neurological problems, that give you instability in your metabolic order. How do we make peace with the earth? By remembering we are not separate, that the earth's body and our body is one. We've built such artificial barriers in our mind. And we have health departments and health ministries. And we have an environment department always treated as the stepchild. And yet, if we don't take care of the environment, we have no health at all. And we are in a health crisis and emergency in this country. I went to villages in UP. One village had 100 cancer victims. There's a cancer train that leaves Punjab, which has the highest use of pesticides in agriculture. We have Bhopal. Children are still being born deformed. Endosulfan sprayed on cashew plantations, another disaster. None of it necessary, because these poisons that came from the wars to kill people are still killing people. But we pretend they're dawai. We actually call them Keetnashak dawai. And I think we should ban the use of dawai for poisons, because they are poisons. They have Keetnashak dawai and then they have the skull. And I asked farmers in Punjab, those meetings, and I said, do you understand? He said, kahan, Angrezi kahan aati hai hame? Because all the cans have this. We've just made a few films, and this pesticide merchant is saying, हाँ जी, हम खूब दवाई बेचते हैं. How do you know which one for the white fly, which one for that? No. We just read the company literature and sell. And when that doesn't work, we pull out another bottle and sell. And when that doesn't work, we pull out a third bottle and sell. That is the way agriculture is being managed, and it's called scientific. There's no science in it. And if we've to bring economy and back to ecology, we've got to realize the biggest economy is nature's economy. Most of my life has been spent defending nature with all my love and all my passion, and that's why You know, when you defend your child, you can be very fierce in your defense. Not fierce in violence, but fierce in your love. And that's what all of us carry with us. We do the actual work of saving seeds through Navdanya, building up the Earth University, and I hope some of you will come be with us for a while to see how we actually make peace with nature. We have 6 times more pollinators on the farm than in the forest of Rajaji next door. That human beings don't have to be destroyers. We have the potential of caring, of being intelligent, of being responsible. So nature's economy is the biggest economy. I think pollinators are contributing $169 billion to our food system annually. 1/3 of the food. We're doing this research right now. 1/3 of the food we eat is a gift of the bees and the butterflies. But we don't see them as food providers. We think, spray. Anything that moves in a field, enemy, pest, exterminate. And read the names of the pesticides and herbicides. Avenge, Spectre, Roundup, all the war vocabulary. We have to make peace with the earth because that's the real economy. And she sustains society. And of course she sustains the market too. But we've got very confused because we think there's only one market. You know, India is a land of hearts. You've just done a nature bazaar, an eco bazaar. Every village has a heart. They don't have permanent shops, but they move around. And the most beautiful clothing used to be sold in these hearts. We had markets with a small m. Now there's a gobbling up market with a big M. And it's no more related to nature, of course, except in predation. But worse, it's not related to anything real. The financial economy is 70 times bigger than the real economy. So you have a lot of fictitious finance moving around, you know, and why do we have so much speculation for real estate, for dal imports? It's because that hungry money is hanging around behind. The real hunger of people is getting drowned with the hunger of limitless money, which can be cooked up like that. So we've come back to the real currency, which is the currency of life. And it's nature who creates it, and we co-create with her. And there's another separation, the separation of rights from responsibility. We talked about the climate change discussion. When the climate treaty was being framed in Rio in 1992, the overarching principle was the polluter must pay. Which means if you have rights, you have responsibility. And right now, we have limitless rights to exploit the earth, to displace people, and zero responsibility. Where will this responsibility come from? Responsibility is a moral obligation. It can't be forced through law. Only. We do need laws to stop things that harm the environment and society. We need laws to stop the rape of women. We need laws to stop the rape of the earth. But we do need the awareness that we are first Earth citizens. And I think we are in such a deep crisis. I nearly cried this morning when I saw those 45 whales that had come to the shore in Kerala and died. And I think the whales are making a life sacrifice to say, wake up, humanity. Wake up. When those numbers come of a very intelligent creature, they're speaking to us and saying something. And we need to be deeply aware that the very life fabric of this planet is being threatened by very short-term thinking. So if we are Earth citizens, we don't see the stopping of destruction as sacrifice. We see it as a celebration. We see it as our duty. And that's the shift we need to make. In our sciences, we need to go beyond the fragmentation of Newtonian, Cartesian, mechanistic, reductionist physics into recognition that the real science is recognizing the web of life, the interconnectedness. These are the system sciences, these are the ecological sciences, these are the ancient sciences of our farming, of our Ayurveda, the indigenous science. And Dr. Mashelkar knows how many times we've had to fight. I fought 3 cases, and when you were in CSIR, you did, I think, the turmeric case, but we fought the neem case, the basmati case, the wheat case, where our heritage is being defined as an invention by some pirate. We need to deeply embed the economy in life processes. And I think one of the biggest dangers we have is we are doing our sums wrong. GDP is not measuring anything that matters for life on the planet or life of ordinary people in our everyday lives. We have to move from an extractive economy, which is the GDP measurement, that just takes from nature, to a cyclical economy based on gratitude, on the law of return. Organic farming is nothing other than an ethical practice of the law of return. Mother Earth, you've given us so much abundance. We give back part of that abundance to you so you can continue to sustain us in the future. And we need to recognize that environment is not a luxury. Protecting the environment is not the commitment of a few crazies in the world, but the people who really love the earth, who can see ahead and see what's coming, and it's a health question. So no one can pretend they can be careless. Each of you, each of us, has to get into this action of stopping the war against the earth, because it is a war, and start to make peace. Thank you.